This is a new day. This is a new day full of sound and light and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. This day has been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you. This day has been waiting with open arms just for you. This is the day we have been given. Let's not waste it. Come now and let us worship together. Are we on, Tim and Andy? Are we good? Good. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody near and far. It is really good to be with you all. I welcome all our friends who are with us here locally in the Mahoning County and Trumbull County area. And I welcome all our friends out in PA, in Hermitage, in Meadville, in Lancaster, PA. I welcome all our friends who are here coast to coast, from Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, to California, to New York. Welcome everyone across the country and across the world, in the Dominican Republic, in Egypt, every continent on this great blue earth. Welcome. Welcome to all who have found us through YouTube, through our feed on Facebook, all those who are here with us live. It is a great pleasure to be with you all. And we have some really exciting events coming up that I'd love to share with you. We have a Nonviolence Day parade here in the Youngstown area. It begins at 3 p.m. today, and it starts on the corner of Wood and Wick Street, and it's a car caravan. So you're welcome just to come and bring your car and drive with many people across the Mahoning County, Trumbull County area in support of nonviolence. Again, that's 3 p.m. today on the corner of Wood and Wick at First Presbyterian Church. That's the good landmark for you. This coming Saturday, October 9th at 8 p.m., there's a play reading of The Taming, a really great, clever, and fun play. Jennifer Ruth Boyd is one of the actors in the production, and I'll be hosting a talk back afterward on the themes of the play. And I'll read the little blurb for you to give you a sense of what it's about. Tweeting, politics, and undying giddiness for James Madison. What else could you expect to find at a Miss America pageant? In this hilarious, raucous, all-female power play, inspired by Shakespeare's Shrew, contestant Catherine has political aspirations to match her beauty pageant ambitions. All she needs to revolutionize the American government is the help of one ultra-conservative senator's aide on the cusp of a career breakthrough and one bleeding heart liberal blogger who will do anything for her cause. Again, it's a great, fun, funny, and clever production. It's going to be Saturday, October 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our Zoom channel, and it's free, so I hope you can join us for that. Also save the date, Saturday, October 16th at 6 p.m., we're going to be hosting a movie night here on the patio. We're going to be showing the great animated film Soul, which I don't know if you've seen before, but it's quite good. And the animated film is about what makes you you, and what's so great about living. So it's a very deep film, but very funny, and very well done. It's an animated film. It's good for all ages. That's going to be, again, Saturday, October 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern on our patio, and we hope you can join us for that. And now we'd like to go to Kathleen Hogue for an update on religious education.
Hi, everybody. I just want to remind you that we have a couple of events coming up that are all ages events that you're welcome to come to and even come help with if you have some ideas, especially for the October the 17th Art on the Patio. So far, I know we will be making chalices and painting rocks to start a new hide and find outreach project. We'll also be making some ornaments, and if you have any ideas, I hope you'll share them with me and come and help set up a little early. And also on October the 31st, which happens to be a Sunday, we have our trunk and treat event. So you can come and park your car, have your car all decorated, have candy in the trunk to give out to the kids, our own kids and the kids in the neighborhood. It's also another great outreach opportunity to welcome people in the community into our congregation. So we hope to see you all then. And now it's time for our story. Is There Really a Human Race? By Jamie Lee Curtis and Laura Cornell.
Is there really a human race? Is it going on now? All over the place? When did it start? Who said, ready, set, go? Did it start on my birthday? I really must know. Do I warm up and stretch? Do I practice and train? Do I get my own coach? Do I get my own lane? Do I race in the snow? Do I race in a twister? Am I racing my friends? Am I racing my sister? If the race is a relay, is Dad on my team? And his dad, and his dad, you know what I mean? Is the race like a loop or an obstacle course? Am I a jockey or am I a horse? Is there pushing and shoving to get to the lead? If the race is unfair, will I succeed? Do some of us win? Do some of us lose? Is winning or losing something I choose? Why am I racing? What am I winning? Does all of my running keep the world spinning? If I get off track when I take the wrong turn, do I make my way back from mistakes? Do I learn? Is it a sprint? A dash to the end? Am I aware of the time that I spend? And why do I do it, this zillion yard dash? If we don't help each other, we're all going to crash. Sometimes it's better not to go fast. There are beautiful sights to be seen when you're last. Shouldn't it be that you just try your best? And that's more important than beating the rest. Shouldn't it be, looking back at the end, that you judge your own race by the help that you lend? So take what's inside you and make big, bold choices. And for those who can't speak for themselves, use bold voices and make friends and love well. Bring art to this place and make the world better for the whole human race.
When I was in acupuncture school in Portland, Oregon, one of my teachers said to us in class one day that in the fall, it's good to let yourself get a little cold, just a little bit, because nature and the outside temperature is a little bit cold. Now, I'm someone who pulls out my cardigans and my scarves at the first sign of a chill in the air, but I have always felt that his advice makes sense. It's best to align yourself with the energy of the season, of the world around you, rather than put up a barrier or shelter yourself too much from what is happening. It's like a relationship between you and the elements. There's you and the outside world. But are you that separate? Relationships are about people, places, or living beings who intermingle and interdialogue, and in doing so, each part is made more whole. We are each having a unique experience, yes, but in that, we are sharing that uniqueness with all that is around us, and pathways are forged, bridges are crossed, in order for me to be me and you to be you, and yet be even more than that. Life is a ceremony of cultivating relationship. We light this chalice in the spirit of relationship with ourselves, each other, and with the season of fall.
Please join me in reciting our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another.
Each month, we donate all loose cash and unmarked checks put in the offering plate to a nonprofit organization whose mission and actions are consistent with the UU principles and the mission of UUYO. October is National Substance Abuse Prevention Month, so UUYO is dedicating this month's Give Away the Plate to an organization led by one of our UUYO members, Ohio Can Mahoning County. Ohio Change Addiction Now, or CAN, Mahoning County's vision is to bring your voice to addiction and recovery, and its mission is to embrace, educate, and empower those whose lives have been impacted by substance abuse. Though the pandemic slowed things down, recently Ohio Can Mahoning County has been able to hold educational community events, including an event at UUYO in recognition of International Overdose Awareness Day on August 31st. The event remembers all those we have lost to overdose and gives the community an opportunity to commemorate their loved ones lost in a safe, judgment and stigma-free environment. Some of Ohio Can Mahoning County's ongoing activities include UCAN 2 Blessing Bag Project, which provides bags of all necessary personal hygiene products, hats, gloves, socks, and a new throw blanket to individuals in recovery housing. OhioCAM Mahoning County also provides individuals in recovery who are moving out of recovery housing and into their own homes with gently used and new household items, including small kitchen appliances, sweepers, dishes, linens, etc., all free of charge. Most recently, in a partnership with Project MKC, OhioCAM Mahoning County is now providing diapers and wipes, among other items, on a monthly basis to moms and dads in recovery to provide to their children. We will now receive the offering that supports the life of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world.
Please join me in a time of meditation. If you happen to be sitting and it's comfortable, you can just straighten your spine a little bit, if that's possible. If you're lying down, if you're in the middle of an activity, that's all fine too. Just notice your breathing in your body as we breathe together.
It is interesting to reflect on how the most basic routines of our lives are conducted in an orderly way within a particular form. When our actions are conducted in this way, they become ceremony. What is ceremony? The original implications of ceremony in Judeo-Christian culture reveal how we live and point to what is missing in our life now. In Latin, ceremony is ceremonia, which is related to cura, meaning cure, the act of healing or of being healed. In other words, ceremony is an act that cures or heals, or by which something is healed. In having a ceremony or in doing ceremonial action, we must ask, what is healed? By what? The word heal means to be healthy, to be whole and sound. To make our life healthy is ceremonial. In order to live a healthy life, we live ceremonially every day, regardless of our culture, country, or race. From morning to night, we live our lives through rituals, don't we? We get up in the morning, wash our face, brush our teeth, and eat, going about these simple routines in an ordinary way. When eating, we have the ritual of using a fork, knife, and plate. At work, we act ceremonially when we greet our colleagues in a particular way. From time to time, many of you express your discomfort with ritual. Most of us prefer informality or casualness. But regardless of whether something is formal or informal, still there is form. The definition of ceremony also includes the word law, the laws of life. From morning until night, our life is continuous ritual, governed by rules, regulations, and laws. Behaving informally, can we follow the laws or regulations that are essential to living a healthy life? We can say that living an informal life is more comfortable for us. But in fact, something is ignored when we do even simple things without an understanding of ceremony. What are we ignoring? How do we take care of ourselves in each moment? When the time comes to get up in the morning, just get up. It is a seemingly simple thing, but how do you do it? By doing it in an orderly way, you regulate yourself and your life. When you do these actions casually, you miss something.
Yesterday, I was very glad to attend a women's rally in response to the legislation that was passed in Texas. Being at the rally reminded me of something important in the process of correcting injustice. We cultivate relationship. It's a very obvious thing, but one that I think deserves to be highlighted this morning. When I first started engaging social justice, I was purely focused on the injustice and the need to correct it. Now, I still have that focus, but my vision has widened compared to where it was even a few years ago. Now, I find that I notice the small things that are really not small things. I notice when someone takes the time to make a sign and then hands it out to people who just show up. I notice when someone shows you how to use a bullhorn properly. I notice the exchanged looks of gratitude, often with people that we've never met, a sign that there are other people who care too, and the gratitude that comes from that. I appreciate now the conversation, which usually begins with the issue that brought us there, but then usually meanders into checking in and inquiring about each other's lives and how each other is doing and what's important to them. When I first began to want to be involved in social justice, all of these aspects of the moment were there, but I wasn't yet able to appreciate at that time all the ways that relationships were being strengthened and cultivated in very deep and profound ways. My relationship with myself, my relationship to my values, my relationship to my community, cultivated and strengthened by a power embodied by others who are continually present in making that possible. I'm slowly, very slowly, beginning to learn that cultivating relationship is about appreciating these subtle exchanges that really make life worthwhile. It's taking that extra minute to listen to someone, or introducing yourself to someone, or saying to a stranger, "I'm glad you're here." It's being aware of these subtle shifts that are really not so subtle. I was standing in my minister's study last Sunday, and I was dressed as I am now. I was in my robe and had my stole. And I was looking out onto the lawn with really no thought in my mind. Sometimes I just do that, just looking out on the lawn. And it hit me. I've done this exact same thing in this exact same posture many times now. And it may sound funny, but the smells of the room and the feeling of the church, it all felt how it felt on any Sunday in September at 10:30 a.m. 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I knew the overall feeling in my body of this moment, in this season, in this place. And even though my mind never took the time to mark it, it was there. It was there all along. It was an immersion into a moment. And this may sound kind of strange, but it felt eternal. Eternal as in outside of normal time. The Greeks had a good word for it, kairos. Kairos. Chronos is the usual way we experience time, as a chronological sequence of events, one after the other. But kairos is an opportune time, a moment of grace, a time when it is right to do something, a time when transformation takes place. It's a time when the world seems to conspire to bring about that exact moment, a moment that we are in the middle of always. My sneaking suspicion and intuition is that we are always living in kairos, except most of us, including myself, rarely feel it, rarely know it. But we get glimpses, certain moments that feel as if the entire world is meeting us in this way that is alive and full and wanting for nothing. We are cultivating relationships that we're not always aware of. And those relationships make us who we are. The reading this morning is from one of my favorite religious teachers, Taizan Maizumi Roshi, who lived a full life. During World War II, he was a young boy in Japan, and American soldiers taught him how to say swear words in English and gave him his first cigarette. Maizumi's father was a respected Zen Buddhist priest and began young Maizumi's training from a very young age to be a priest just like him. But Maizumi had different ideas that were actually considered very strange. After his father died, Maizumi took a ship bound for America, which people thought was a very strange thing to do. And he arrived in Los Angeles, California. He spoke no English other than the swear words that he learned from American soldiers. He worked as a houseboy, cleaning the houses of the wealthy in the valleys of California. This was in the early 1960s. And he didn't know this, but he was arriving in a kairos moment in American history. Due to Alan Watts, D.T. Suzuki, the Beatnik movement, there was great interest all of a sudden in Zen Buddhism and Eastern spirituality in general. Maizumi learned English and began teaching American people about the true meaning of Zen. One of those talks was the one that Jennifer read this morning on ceremonial action. Maizumi quickly learned that Americans were not big appreciators of ceremonial action, actions that are done in a certain way at a specific time. He learned very quickly Americans loved informality, and they valued looseness, a way of living that had no clear boundary or intention, a moment that was free to be whatever you wanted it to be, and lived the way you wanted it to be lived. But Maizumi was really smart, and he was really smart about this, and he was very culturally sensitive. He didn't try to convince Americans not to be informal. And he repeated that his goal was not to be prescriptive or restrictive in trying to explain Zen or really any kind of religious teaching. But from what he knew through experience as a Japanese person, was that ceremonial action carried out with specific attention and intention, had a power that could not be easily discarded. It was the repeated action done with the same mind, the same attention, again and again and again, that had the power to show a person their true life, a kairos moment. I think we are in a kairos moment now, friends. In this time, everything seems divided up, and even if this has been the case for a while, it feels like it's just getting more and more pronounced. The stakes always feel very, very high. It seems everything that is being fought over right now is literally over life and death, literally. And the divisions between different cultures, even if they live in the same country, seems sometimes irreconcilable. And I have been thinking about all of this in the context of this month's theme, cultivating relationship. And now I'm noticing about how the most important aspects of cultivating relationship are not perhaps what we think, or more accurately, not perhaps what I've thought. It's not the big conversation. It's not the big sudden meeting with someone who behaves or thinks differently, where you meet in this very intense way and then it somehow gets resolved. I'm starting to think that may not be always the way. I'm realizing that we are always in relationship. Always. And the way we live our lives, the way we carry ourselves in our day, has the power to remind us that we are always in relationship, or our actions can mightily distract us from that very fact. We do have a kind of ritual as Americans that is not so healthy when it's followed all the time, without question. The ritual that we have in this country is the unspoken understanding that each of us can do whatever we want. This is really wonderful, dynamic, and creative at times. But the understanding seems to cause harm when it distracts us from the fact that our whole life is made up of relationships. I don't think Maizumi Roshi was only speaking to Buddhists or those interested in Zen. That was the context for his talk. But the heart of it, I think, is true for every religious or humanist orientation in any culture. The heart of it is that the way we live the most mundane moments of our life, the most mundane, the way we brush our teeth, the way we eat, the way we work, the way we travel, the way we carry ourselves, has the power to cultivate a sense of relationship or dull that sense, that felt sense of relationship. We are always in relationship, but the everyday actions of our lives, even the ones that we think no one's noticing, it's just us in our house, can either cultivate that awareness and appreciation, or it can dull that awareness to the point that we don't even notice it anymore. I think we are in a time when it's wise to consider how we might carry out our living in very mundane ways that cultivate that sense of relationship to others and the wonders of our world. Even if we live and spend most of our time alone, it may be even more important and crucial to act in ways that cultivate the sense, the felt sense, that we are in relationship, rather than dull our sense and feel the isolation that comes from that. How do we do this? I think deep down, each of us knows the answer. I don't think there is a prescription, a certain way you should move, communicate, and be in the world. But I do believe there is a good way for you and a good way for me. I think it is worth asking ourselves, is this act cultivating my sense of relationship to my family, relationship to my values, relationship to my life? Or am I dulling my sense of relationship, distracting myself from it? I think each of us, if we're honest, can answer that for ourselves. And that might be illuminating. I found it personally very easy to be distracted from the sense of relationship. I've found and still find it far too easy to get lost in my head and go so fast through any activity, convincing myself that I understand the given situation, so I know what to do. I completely see why this person, these groups of people do X. I found that kind of certainty of any kind, a very powerful distraction from any kind of meaningful sense of relationship. Once I'm certain that I think I have any person sized up, even if that person is myself, and I think I pretty much have myself figured out, that certainty closes down the possibility of intimacy. When we are unsure, we are open, and we are better listeners. We're more curious, and the sense of relationship grows. I fall into the trap of certainty embarrassingly easily. I can convince myself that I have something figured out, but when I do, I find there are consequences. I miss the subtle cues. I miss the little things that are really not little things. And when I do this, I miss my life. I'm not really there for it. I'm just plowing through. I miss the texture. And my life becomes Chronos time, one sequential event after another, and life becomes a habit of just marking one event after the next. But Kairos time, and this is a grace, I think, Kairos time usually comes to wake me up, usually, at some strange moment. I get reminded suddenly, when I'm in my minister's study or walking down the street, what my life is really about. Relationships. And there's no end to discovering that. We will never figure out all that it is that we're related to in any given moment. And that open expanse, that invitation, an invitation that we can follow, cultivating a sense of relationship wherever we are. There are endless ways to cultivate this sense. But I think it begins with wanting to cultivate a sense, a felt sense of relationship. Wanting to cultivate a sense of relationship with ourselves. Cultivating a sense of relationship with the time that we are living in, with the great and wonderful people that we are related to in this moment. It is truly endless. And I agree with Maizumi Roshi. It's about the little things that are really not little things. It's about how we sit, how we communicate, the way we eat our food, our chores, our commute, our work, our hobbies. It's about how we show up for our loved ones. It's how we show up for strangers. It's about how we show up for ourselves. I think starting there is good. How we show up for ourselves. In religion, you'll often hear the question, who are you? Who are you really? This is not just an intellectual question with no real answer. It has an answer, but I think it's an endless answer. It's an answer that appears when we wish to cultivate relationship with ourselves and the whole of life. When we cultivate a relationship to our living that is not just a sequence of events, one after the other, but a fullness, a wonder, an appreciation for ourselves. I think cultivating this sense of relationship is what we talk about when we talk about peace. I think peace is possible. Peace between peoples, peace with ourselves. I think cultivating a sense of relationship, a felt sense of relationship, is the means and it is the end. Cultivating a sense of relationship is the goal, the fulfillment, and it is the path. It is the way. I think we might think, and I've often thought this, that transformation is when we become someone completely different. Someone who is kinder, more fearless, more generous, etc. But I think the real transformation begins now, in Kairos time. It begins when we feel the desire to cultivate relationship with who and where we are. The transformation happens in the way that we relate to our life. When we relate to our life as something to cultivate relationship with, a whole universe opens. A whole universe of possibilities. The transformation is not dependent on certain circumstances. The possibility for transformation is here, now, always. It is always here. And each of us has the capacity to realize it. It's realized in relationship. It's realized when our daily actions support the cultivation of relationship. It's realized when we engage our life as if it matters and as if life matters. It's realized in noticing in minute detail in our actual living that it is impossible for us to get away from relationship. no matter what we've done, no matter what we think, we are in relationship. Cultivating that sense, moment by moment, is transformation. Please pray with me. Spirit of love, grateful, 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 grateful. Grateful to be alive on this day. Grateful to be alive in the fall, this time of harvest, this time when the weather starts to cool and we seek places of coziness, places of community, places of warmth and kindness. Please help us to be those people that can offer a place of warmth and kindness. Please help us to be the kind of community that can sustain each other through difficult times and celebrate with those who are in a place of joy and contentment. Please help us to open ourselves up to the sense of relationship that is always present, now and always. All this we pray. Amen.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As you depart, please remember the one great fact. You are loved and never truly alone. Now we'll go into a breakout room for 7 minutes and come back and discuss as a larger